Welcome everyone to episode 16 of Fireside Yarns. My name is David, and as always I'm accompanied with my Fireside brothers, Vinno and Reese. Vinno, how's it going, mate?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Reese, what about you, mate? How's it hanging?
It's hanging over. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good. As long as it's hanging over.
Yeah.
I love it. Now,
Middle to the left.
to the left, only thing on the left side, yeah, that's the crib side. That's Snoop saying. So I love it. But now, Firesiders, this week we decided to focus on homelessness as our main topic of the episode. Now, to do this, we are lucky enough to secure a special guest for tonight. She is not only a dear friend of ours, but someone who has worked with the homeless people and to bring awareness to this serious issue. So without further ado, welcome to the Fireside, a legend on 2 continents, Niamh.
Hi.
Hey, welcome to Fireside Yarns.
Hi. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming on.
No worries.
Now, Niamh, do you want to kind of introduce yourself and give yourself a little bit of a bio for the crazy Firesiders out there?
I presume that you've already kind of mentioned. Have you already mentioned what I'm on here to talk about?
Yeah, I just basically said that
very quickly.
You're a dear friend of ours, and that you've someone who's worked with homeless people and to bring awareness to this issue. So we're just here to learn a little bit, and yeah.
Yeah, so I suppose for me, it's like, obviously I've worked with homelessness now for about 7 years, but it's also like, kind of, I suppose I didn't realise it was like an unrealised passion of mine as a young person, with being kind of young in Dublin City and hanging out in Dublin City a lot. I did actually interact with homeless people quite a lot, and I just they fascinated me, but was still always a little bit like stereotypical of me, if you know what I mean. Like, you'd see someone on the street and you might assume that they're, you know, a drug addict or whatever, or what would they be doing there. But obviously now I realise that that's totally a stereotype and that anyone can become homeless. So I basically got given the opportunity to start a homelessness service, so a specialist homelessness service that's funded by the government to support people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. But I started as a receptionist. So I literally got my foot in the door there, knew I loved it. As difficult, obviously, as it was, people coming in on like their hardest day of their life, homeless, nowhere to go, or escaping domestic violence. But I found like I was really like able to stay calm in those situations and be able to support them through it. Even though I was just the receptionist. So when I went on maternity leave to have the twins, I came, like when I was coming back, I said, would you give me a traineeship in community service? And they said, yeah. So I was in the traineeship. It was supposed to be for about 2 years. And I pretty much smashed it out in about 14 months, became a fully qualified caseworker, even though the whole time I was training, I was case managing anyway. I just learned so on the job experience and knowledge about domestic violence, mental health, drug and alcohol, homelessness in itself, and how to try and alleviate it for one person at a time. And to the point where I gained so much knowledge, and like, you know, I ended up becoming the team leader within a year as well. So I really, like, it was just something that I feel like it was meant to be for me, if you know what I mean. So I just have a lot of passion about it. I'm really glad you asked me on the show for it. Finally, I've got like something that I like, you know what I mean, know about. So no, it's really, really good. It's really, really good.
You've done a fair bit of work as well, like outside of just your normal job with it, as far as like awareness with the Sleep Out on the Street program, was it, that you did?
Yeah. So that was actually, so one, when you're in community services and you have knowledge of other services and the things that can support people, then if you're in situations anywhere in the world or in wherever, why wouldn't you share those with people? So I'm just constantly, if I'm at a party and someone mentions, they thought their cousin was in a domestic violence relationship, I'd be straight over there. I'd be giving them every bit of information they need to know to get out, what options are available for them. It's just something that I just continue through my whole life. But the Vinnie sleep out thing, obviously that's a massive thing that's done. Like, I think it's Australia wide.
Yep.
And it obviously started with the CEO Sleepout, where all the big CEOs were sleeping out and raising loads of money. And then obviously it got into like the local communities, and people just basically sleep outside of a night time, raise money and whatever. And we, with the homelessness place that I was working for at the time, I think there was only, because it was COVID, so there was probably only about 12 of us that slept out in the end. But we raised over like $5,000 and it was awesome. But
Yeah,
I
nice.
tell you what, sorry, I know I'm rabbiting, but
No, go for it.
I tell you what, that night on that street, like it was just in a bush and I had a swag, like I wasn't really doing it that tough. I was in a fucking swag, excuse my language, but I was anxious as all shit. Like I could not sleep. I thought a dog was going to come over and start sniffing me and like bite me. Like it was one of the worst sleeps I've ever had in my life. And I wouldn't recommend it for absolutely anyone. I tell you that for none. So have any of you ever actually done it?
Yeah, no, I've never done it, but
no,
it's crazy to think that, like, you know, you were so uncomfortable, but there's people that literally live that every single night.
Day to day.
Puts in perspective, you know, how they probably feel as well, especially when, you know, they probably don't have a lot of possessions, but what they do have, they're carrying around with them. So like, you know, you're always going to be on alert about losing your stuff or people, you know, fucking with you and stuff as well. Like it's pretty sad.
It is. And you hear stories, obviously, especially in bigger cities, I find, rough sleepers just get a fucking hard time. They get a hard time from drunken idiots that are walking home of a night time and just, I don't know, piss on them or kick them for no reason. Like it's a rough life to have. Yeah. And that's just the rough sleepers. You know what I mean? That's what we think of when we think about homeless people, is people sleeping in sleeping bags in doorways or whatever. But it's just so much more than that. They're the ones that are sleeping rough. Like the percentage of people that actually that are homeless, but just you can't physically see them, is massive. You know, jumping from couch to couch surfing, living in their cars parked away out in the valley or whatever, under bridges and stuff that you just wouldn't see. And then people who are in like houses that have 10 people in a 2-bedroom house because like 3 families living there and just overcrowded and unsustainable, and you know it's just manic. It's manic, and it's a lot, and it's very easy to happen. You know, you don't realize how easy it actually is.
So well, you kind of. Oh, sorry, mate.
No, go, man, go.
I was going to say you did touch a little bit on some of the contributing factors just then about that might lead somebody to become homeless, but yeah, if you could hammer that home a little bit, like how does it happen? Like there must be like lots of different avenues that can lead someone to that.
There is, and you know, I know the first kind of stereotypical ones that people always think of is drug and alcohol, mental health, but they're actually not. They're not up there on the kind of main reasons why people have alcoholism or, you know, drug abuse issues. It's kind of because they do that because they're homeless almost, if you know what I mean. But, you know, domestic violence is massive, absolutely massive in Australia. It's probably the highest cause for homelessness in women at the moment, and some men. And then unaffordable housing and lack thereof, you know what I mean? Like, or affordable housing and lack thereof. Like, it's just, the rental market is absolutely massive. Yeah. People, especially, you know, coming from mining towns that, you know, we all once lived in, and the people that are in the mines are making a lot of money, you know, and then it just kind of splits the mine workers and then the low socioeconomical families that are struggling in the area to find housing. You know what I mean? And they go in and they overbid them with the rents, and you just can't get one. You know, it's really, really difficult. Even
with, you know, like public housing and stuff, is that process easy or is it made difficult? Is it a nightmare for people to try and go through that process? You know, or is it an option that's taken away in a sense because of the red tape?
Well, look, I definitely would say to a homeless person straight up is to get your housing application in. Just get it in straight away, even if you think, even if the wait list is 10 years in some places, 15 years in some places.
Oh, wow.
It's ridiculous, yeah. And obviously you can do things to try and prioritise yourself, but you can prioritise till the cows come home. If there's no houses available, you can't move. So, but I have to admit that and there's plenty of services out there to help you fill in applications and show you how to jump through the hoops that they do want you to jump through. For example, they'll want to see that you're trying to resolve your own homelessness as much as you can, and you basically have to provide evidence to them that you're doing that, whether that be like a rental application diary, like I'm applying for all these rentals in my area that are in my price range. Are you going out of the area?
That in itself is a bit of a poverty trap, isn't it? Because some of these people might not have access. I mean, you mentioned those services where they've got access to help them with applications, but if they have other underlying issues that are stopping them from being able to present that evidence, then they're never going to be able to get out of that, are they? That seems a bit
mental health, addiction. You're dealing with all these things, right. And then you have to provide those types of things.
There is mechanisms in place to support people that really can't look for, can't resolve their own homelessness themselves. So there's things like medical assessments that you could do, or you can obviously advocate. Like an advocate like me could send a letter with the medical assessment pointing out that this person actually doesn't have the capacity to apply for private rentals. They don't have means of transport to get around to viewings. They, all the stuff, and then they could potentially be placed on the priority list due to not being able to resolve their own issues. Okay. But it's still, you get to that point, how well
known are those sorts of services?
Not well known at all. Like every day I find a new service, like professionals. That I'm telling this to, and they're going, "Oh, really? Is that what it is?" And if they're professional people working in the community services industry, how is Joe Blow that's living on his mom's couch going to have a clue? You know what I mean? So, it's a lot.
Well, how is there 10-year waits and 15? We like to think we're in the Western world, and we probably should judge societies on how we take care of our most vulnerable, right? And then it's like, even when you've done the right thing and you've got all the you've got all the ducks in a row, you've done everything that was asked of you, and there's still like, how are we not? How do we have empty, apartments and empty houses and places that working class people can't afford, and we're expecting that? How are you going to make it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Even on that,
you have to be privileged to do so.
Even if it's not housing, I've seen. I'll try and find the reference of it, but the picture I'm talking about is in reference to like a yoga class in a car park done in igloos, right? Weather protected igloos, and there's a comment on that photo saying, "Why can we not do this for the homeless?" They were cost they were cost effective little igloos so that people could go and do their yoga in the park in the rain. And it's little things like that to help for the time being until
we could afford it.
Absolutely, we could, man. As a society, we could.
Said it, didn't he? We got money for war, but can't feed the poor. Rest in peace, Tupac. But he's right. It's true. Look at the money we waste, man. And we can't just make someone has a house, because what do you need? You need to be happy, healthy, safe. These are just
shelter. It's a basic human right. Shelter.
It should be like water. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can't expect people to brave, especially we're in Australia too. To brave the elements. We're mostly lucky to be indoors, but at night you can get fucking cold, in the daytime it's hell. And so depending where you are, it's. And like Niamh was saying, that's only part of it, sleeping rough. But we allow it to get to that stage. The stuff that's hidden. If we're not going to take care of the people that are sleeping rough, we're probably not putting that much effort into the other homelessness too that's hidden from us. So
it's crazy to think that in a survival situation, the first most important thing that you look for is shelter. And that's in a survival situation. That's not just in regards to homelessness, but the importance of it. And there's people that are literally living, searching for shelter every single day, and although that's probably to a degree easier in a city and stuff, and I guess if you're outside you'd you got a little bit of knowledge, you can probably build yourself something in the bush or whatever. But like,
Reese is a part-time Bear Grylls. He can give you some knowledge.
He is. Reese is actually a
I wouldn't be able
survivalist.
to.
It's like Reese is like, yeah, he could probably whip himself up a fucking a rabbit trap there. Well, you're right. Yeah, right. It is different from the city to the country as well.
Yeah.
If you're in a city, the disparity then is so different because you could be lying down homeless in the corner of at the front of a bank. Like it could be fucking A and Z, and then just the difference. It's startling. It's so sad. Like it's ridiculous. And Niamh asked us earlier if we'd ever stayed out all night or whatever. Like I've obviously never done it. Like trying to empathise with a homeless person, but like Niamh said, we grew up as kids doing all nighters in the city and getting drunk and it is like, you know what I mean? You end up at that part of the night where you're frozen solid and you give in and you call your parents.
Somewhere,
Me and Big Anto ended up in Ava's shed, because we just fucking needed. We broke into places to you robbed cheese when it got delivered behind fucking silly. You know what I mean? Like you.
Yeah, or we got kicked out of Ava's and we all went up to Keith Matten's house. Bunch of us, we all had to hit
to go in. And but people, we have these resources and we're kids, so like we were doing it to try and have some sort of fun. It was trivial. It was trivial, but
we had homes to go to. Like we could have quite easily went home, but we were just little shits.
But it's frightening to think that. Like doing it with a safety net, very privileged families that would be there for us and not have those mental issues that would, or addiction issues that can lead people down that road.
I suppose the thing, like with addiction, is it's usually the symptom of the underlying problem there, and that's very easy to blame people for addiction or their alcoholism when, looking into it or working with them and scraping the surface, you find out that there is a lot more there and there's a lot more damage that needs to be repaired before they can start to make that progression to beat their addiction and then get back, out of their homelessness or out of their trap. So it's very easy for everybody to, and look, I'm guilty of it. When you're younger and you're naive and you see somebody in that situation, you just, the first thing you say is get a job or something like that. But, it's stupid because it's very ignorant.
But I mean, if you don't, I was just going to say, don't be too hard on yourself. I suppose you have to grow with the knowledge that you gain over the years. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But, and then, it's, I sympathise for them massively, for these people that are struggling, because it's
I suppose it's another one of those things like mental health. It's the stigma,
Yep.
And as getting older and maturing, you don't look at it the same way as you would when you're young and get a job, you bum kind of thing. Like it's goes a bit deeper when you get older and you think about things and you get a bit more empathetic and stuff.
Your world experiences.
We do think more about mental health the last decade or so, I think. Niamh, has that changed now that, because I've seen it in the workplace, it's definitely become a part of health and safety. And we see countries around the world that say when they decriminalise drugs and treat it like a health issue instead of a criminal, instead of criminalising these people, it's like, okay, let's put the money into rehabilitation and making it a health issue. Have you seen a big change in that sector or whatever?
Well, do you know, the only thing that I would say, obviously, in relation to impacting homelessness is how the same has kind of happened with domestic violence, that people, there's been a soar in domestic violence reports and, AVOs and women actually coming forward and speaking and getting, going to court and doing everything they have to do. And people are like, or like some older people that, have closed eyes. And I go, none of that back in my day, you know what I mean? And it's kind of, it's like there so was. And I feel like the more, as the numbers go up, it's a better thing, because they're always there. The numbers are always there, but it's the women that are coming out and reporting and getting the help that they need and deserve. And then it does, it's shit for a stage, but hopefully it does kind of force a bit of change. Do you know what I mean? And And I think, we're on the right track. It just needs to go a lot more, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Plenty of work for the future. So if people are interested to sort of get involved with the like the sleep out program, those sorts of things, how would they go about getting involved there? Is there a website they can go to?
Yeah, so that's the Vinnies Sleep Out. So that's actually Vinnies. They do that. So basically, if you were to go onto the Vinnies website, they'd have a list of places that are doing local, sleep outs. And watch out on your little notice board. Go on Facebook, follow your local notice board. Usually, if there's schools or specialist homelessness service doing that type of stuff, they'll post it on there and try and get it out there a little bit. So just keep an eye out. And then obviously
we'll link them in the description of these videos.
Yeah. And
that's why I asked, so we can help.
I wanted to make sure that we linked in Link2home, which is like I don't know whether it's national or whether it's just New South Wales, but it's like a phone number that you ring. So basically, if you're completely lost, you'd know where to go. And you don't know where your homelessness services are in your area, you ring Link2home and they'll give you temporary accommodation for a night or two. But you'll have to then present at a local office, but they'll tell you exactly where to go. Now it's a bit like hoop jumpy to continue it going, but it's definitely there if you need to just put your head down somewhere and have a shower. Yeah.
I was just thinking about that then. Like, if you just need somewhere just to have a shower, like you think about everything we take for granted in just
100%.
Wow. Like,
it's crazy, man.
Yeah, and even, people obviously living in their cars as well. There is a couple of places. I know there's a place in Newcastle that's called My Backyard, and it's like a safe place for homeless people to park their cars. And it has cooking facilities and shower facilities and probably a bit of laundry as well. Like, if you're just, and then there's so many people that I was like, I went in, I talked to some guy about getting a house loan one time, broker. Anyway, I mentioned where I was working, and straight away he's like, I don't get it. Like, why are they wasting their money? Why don't they just get a caravan or something? Like, at least they'd be off the streets. I'm like, do you know how much a person that's on New Start or old age pension gets per fortnight? Like, you're talking $500, $600 max a fortnight. Do you know what I mean? Like, caravan parks bump up the prices for the second, especially for the miners up in our town.
Yeah.
And you can barely even get it. Or they're just exploiting people's misfortune and, bad circumstances. Awful. And it's very poor. And sometimes that's the only options that you've got. So you support them to get in there to give you some time to be able to get all the other stuff done. So it has obviously been enough that people have on other people. Yeah.
We need that basic net for people. Like we need to make sure people have options. Do you think something like Andrew Yang in America brought into the forefront universal basic income? So it would be basically that everyone would get, and they've successfully done this in some European countries and even in Alaska. They've given, the government will give you a basic income that's a living wage, and that goes to everyone. So everyone gets it. It's universal, and it can act as a stimulus, and it's like a freedom dividend. So it's like you're a citizen and you're part of this country, and we're going to invest back into you. So everyone gets it. You can means test it too to get it started. But basically, it would give even like stay-at-home mothers we would put a value on their work, which is raising a kid, or as people who are disabled, they would be they wouldn't be reliant on this thing. It wouldn't affect their like that. Do you think something like that could help, or do you think again people would just be like, okay, let's raise rent by $2,000. Let's put.
You know what? It definitely wouldn't hurt. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of extra coin in the pocket for everyone. That would, I would definitely not say no to it.
I was going to say, here, I'm for it. But just to give people that basic, okay, this is what, you know what I mean? And it doesn't, he was campaigning for $1,000 or $2,000 a month or whatever it was.
I know, right.
You could do it in different, you could find, it could be means tested for your area or something. I know. I'm trying to figure out, or is it better just to put money in policy wise into government housing? Do you think that could be better, or where can policy go?
Affordable housing is definitely up there on the list. Whether that's giving us more houses that are affordable, or giving people more money that they can afford the houses, it's, houses is what we need at the moment, affordable houses.
How do we get people in there?
Yeah. But
it's crazy too, like
you go, Reece.
Yeah, sorry. The cost of living has substantially increased in the last 20 years, and as a whole, probably for most industries, wages have not matched that.
That's right. They don't take into account inflation when they're paying you, do they? No.
Yeah, and it comes back to that, what you were saying earlier is, people that work full time and still struggle to have a home, and how then are people that don't have any of that expected to? Yeah, it's a scary thought, hey.
Yeah, it is. But what I was going to say before you touched on, Dave, about single mothers staying at home, or just mothers in general staying at home, because since I left the special homelessness service up in the Hunter Valley, I'm down the coast now, and I'm specialising in homelessness with aged people, so people over 65. And it's a whole different...
How are we not sorting that out? Yeah.
I know, and it's a whole new dynamic, because I have to admit, I'm going to be super honest here, with the homelessness side, the wait list is so long. You could have 100 people sitting on your wait list, you're at capacity. So you have to be a little bit brutal when it comes to providing services. So if someone, if you ring them 3 times and they're not getting back to you, they're probably going to be closed down. They have to give a little bit. We can't kind of do everything for them. Whereas with the older generation, they're just so much more vulnerable and not tech savvy and not able to apply for rentals and stuff themselves, that you just have to give them that little bit of extra support. And a couple of changing factors, obviously, that I've seen with women, older women, is that, there's a couple of things with older people. Obviously, they're with their husband or their partner. It could be either partner in this scenario, but one of them passes away, right? So you've got 2 of your pensions coming in, and you're both affording your property together. Someone dies, and then you lose their pension, and then all of a sudden you can't afford your private rental, and you need somewhere to go. One reason. 2, older women, because of the fact that they spend a lot of time stereotypically at home, they bear children. They are the ones that bear children. They are the ones that stereotypically have to stay home with the child for months, while the man, because of whatever reason, has to go back to work and provide for his family. Do you know what I mean? They could spend 15 years potentially out of the workforce, and lack of superannuation coming in. No super. They get to a point in their lives, or it could be even in a domestic violence relationship, and the kids have gotten older, and they say, fuck this, I was only staying for the kids. They're not here anymore. I'm out of here. And they don't have a life. You know what I mean? They don't have anything. But yet they did all the same work towards their family at that time. You know what I mean? They put in just as much as what, say, the husband did. But yeah, he's sitting on a lovely super and she's got nothing.
That's what I mean. We don't put value on, these people are contributing and raising our kids. They're raising, even if you were to have that, that closed-minded, knuckle-dragging way of thinking, these are raising your boys, okay? Yeah. These are going to raise your taxpayers. But just to look at it as again, with the UBI, I think it would put a dollar value on that, and at least, it could contribute to something. But we don't create those avenues and the social constructs, I guess, of having women allowed to be the breadwinner. Oh, well, nowadays it's better, but with elderly people,
it's starting to change. But like Niamh was saying there, that very old mentality and that old way of doing things that they've done for so long.
They're probably looking after the old dude too. And if he if she dies, then all of a sudden he's like, I don't know how to fucking use the washing machine or whatever it is. And if he dies,
wipe my ass.
Whatever it is, they're depending on each other for whatever reason. Yeah. And then there are most vulnerable people. And how are we not how is it not just, don't worry, we're going to fucking make sure you're all right, you're 65, you're in our country, we're not going to let you down. How is that?
I know. And some of them are ill, some of them are sick as well. Of course. You know what I mean? And we have real estate, and obviously we talked about the housing market for purchases at the moment is massive. For people selling their houses, it's massive. And you know, so a lot of people who are in rentals at the moment, the landlords seeing a bit of a, you know, an opportunity to sell at a high, you know, market value, and you can't do anything. You can't fight a property being sold as a tenant. The only thing you can fight is to get more time. You can go to tribunal and get more time, and that's it. Like, it's inevitable. You're going to be kicked out.
Yeah.
And they don't actually have to they only have to give you 30 days notice. So if it was a no grounds eviction completely, they'd have to give you a 90 days notice, and you can't fight it. If it's anything else of an eviction notice, if it's because you've breached a tenancy, you can fight it and you can try and prove that you didn't do it. But no grounds evictions, it's just nothing. No reasoning, no nothing. Here's 90 days and you have to be out. And obviously you go to tribunal at the end of it, you might get another couple of weeks out of it, but that's it. Like, and that's what's happening at the moment with the market. And then obviously it's going up, and people who, like, first home buyers, their goal is reaching further away and they can't buy a house, and they're staying in the rental market, which is unstable. It's just a fucking mad cycle.
Well, that's right. When there's so much incentive to sell your house, and right now you're going to kick the people out you've been renting it to. So that must be an influx now, and especially like through this pandemic, to have an influx like that, it's just, again, it shocks me. It just shocks me about our priorities.
It's crazy just how much that market has moved.
It's huge.
And like Niamh was touching on there with first home buyers, you know. I mean, we were thinking about selling ours, but then decided that we didn't want to go. You know, if we made a profit, then we'd still be buying another property for the same thing. But we're lucky; we've got a house. You know, we're one of the lucky ones. But people trying for the first time, like,
hey,
yeah, man, we spoke about it. We spoke about it last night.
Got in there. It was a couple of years, like, and then I bought. We got this place at the start of this year, at the end of last year in December. So it was like
before it all took off,
it exploded. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, and we would have been fucked. We would have been fucked. Now we could have sold our unit. We had a little unit. We could have sold that for a lot better. But again, we would have ended up in the shit.
Yeah, you go and buy a house.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. But again, we're lucky because we just got in the market, and that's kind of all people are trying to do now. People just are trying to get in the market now.
You have to get your foot in the door. That's it. You just get one, and then you're in. Then you can use, obviously, whatever equity you have to go again. But it's just getting to that point. You know, and you see like loads of schemes and that. You know, I've seen there's a 5% single mom scheme or whatever that you can get a deposit on a house, or like you just use a 5% deposit. When you actually really look into it, like, and then one, they have to loan you more money then. So then the interest that you pay back is absolutely massive. Two,
nothing's free. Nothing's free. And there's never a lot of those incentives, they're traps, You
know, and then you reckon as a single mom with 3 dependent kids, it nearly drops your like lending capacity in half. You know what I mean? Like, I'm paying me rent. Happy day is not a bother on me, and I'd be quite capable of paying a mortgage. Just no one will give me the money.
And it's a process is fucking hard too, and it's lengthy, and it's time. It's time consuming, and like you're saying, you might be a single mom, and you're fucking you probably, like, you might have 2 jobs. You might be just trying to fucking make it work and scrape by and just get through the day, and then maybe when you have half an hour or an hour or whatever, you just fucking need to relax. Because you're at the end of the day, you're the fucking human too. So we make it just so hard for people to make it like maybe to turn it a little bit back to people sleeping rough. In America, they have these big, and I'm wondering if we have them here and we just don't see them. But they have these whole streets, like in California, there's Skid Row. They're like hundreds of thousands of people, and Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia, and there's all these tent
same as
communities.
In Vegas, when they all live in the tunnels underneath Vegas and stuff.
That's right, and that could be because of criminal charges as well, kind of making like how you can't live in certain zones. Do we have any of those? Like, do we have huge communities that are like and dilapidated streets, or is our problem more cerebral than that? I guess.
Heard of certain streets. Cities, big cities have them. Like, obviously there's no street in Vinno that has, you know, that's it. So the cities, and I have seen snippets of, you know, just clickbait articles, I suppose, of, you know, someone trying to kick all the homeless people out or whatever. And it is shit to see, because like that's all they have, and then all of a sudden they're not even allowed to do that either. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think it's as big as 1,000 people in one street, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
We are. I guess we're very lucky over here with our welfare system. For all the problems we've pointed out tonight, we probably are a lot better off than some other countries too.
Yes.
Yeah. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that, you know,
we're not perfect.
Still doesn't mean it's good. Yeah, that's right.
We're not perfect, but as long as we're moving in the right direction,
be better.
Yeah, because I mean, we can always improve on anything that we do, and especially, you know, like Niamh was talking about with the fact that this is now being talked about and highlighted, and they've got all these services, you know, like the ones that you work with, Niamh. That's already a big move forward in the right direction. It's certainly not the end result by any standards, but we're going a lot better than what we were, say, 20 years ago, because of people like yourself, you know, and the programs that
thank you,
that move forward and you know, promote safer sleeping, you know, and these services. I mean, one of the services that I'm aware of, and I can't think of their name at the moment, but we can choose to volunteer through it for work, and that's I think it's a little van that drives around, and they homeless people can come and have something to eat, and then they'll wash their clothes for them at the same time. It's got washing machines in the back of the van and the trailer, so things like that to help them.
Hygiene packs and stuff.
There's a few churches that do it as well. I know Singleton has the Generate Church. They do a little soup kitchen at the back of. I'd lived in Singleton for years. I had never seen it, and then one day I just was like, "What are you doing here? You've got a soup kitchen? Like, this is mad!" Like, you know, just a little lad. And he's like, "Yeah, we've been here for years." I'm like, "Wicked. That's good."
Yeah, for all of my atheism and shit, and like I will say, like, it does seem like there's the outreach there. Whenever I see a soup kitchen and all, it is populated and ran by churchgoers, and so like for whatever beef you got, you know, you got to give it to them. We're not. We should be fucking. If you want to, you know, have a culture that doesn't depend on it, we got to fucking replace that stuff and get in the community ourselves. Have secular fucking soup kitchens.
I know, we'd have to get our act together ourselves, wouldn't we?
That's what I mean. Like, you can't badmouth them. Like, here's the thing: it's about awareness. One, like, I didn't know about Link2home. Like, if I became homeless, I wouldn't know what to do tomorrow. You know, so there's the awareness issue, but then there's the bottleneck, like Niamh was saying. It's like, even if you do the right stuff, we still there's a couple of angles we got to come at it, like, you know. But
I think the awareness of those programs, for one, is a big thing. I'd be interested to know or see maybe some statistics. I don't know if we can, but on just how many homeless people are aware. You've already told us. You don't do statistics, but I'd be interested to see how many people are actually aware of the programs, whether Centrelink gives out those sorts of information packs or anything like that, or whether it's just sort of fend for yourself, which is not the right answer, because they're already trying to.
I feel like, obviously, I know it, and I'll throw out a couple more bits and bobs of services, just so if people are listening, they can kind of see what's around. Even for, like, obviously, if you're in stable accommodation, if you're a young person and you do get a private rental and you haven't got the bond, because let's face it, who has a fucking $1,500 sitting there ready to go when they're, you know, 16, 20, whatever. So there's a Rent Start bond loan application that you can do that will get you 4 weeks of your bond, and it will get you 3 weeks of your bond and 1 week of your advanced rent. But if you link in with a service who writes a support letter, you could get all 6 weeks, and you don't. 2 of them are gifted, and you only have to pay back 4, and it comes out of your. They just take it out your Centrelink, like your Centrelink deduction. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of don't see it coming out. So that's obviously for private rentals. There's a thing called Tenancy Guarantees. So if you're kind of trying to break into the house or the rental market on your own, you can apply for what's called a Tenancy Guarantee, or like a bond extra. So it's basically, you pay your bond and you pay your advance rent, but Housing New South Wales will also kind of put $1,500 on the table on a letter and say, if anything screws up and you need an extra bond, we'll give you this. Like, you're not going to be, it's just a bit of an incentive for real estate agents to give, people a chance, really.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is good.
Good. Yeah.
Yep. And we've got youth rent choice. So it's subsidized rent for young people if they're engaging in education or employment. So if they're working with you and they just want to get their act together and they're really doing it, you can get subsidized rent. So basically you only pay 25% of your income, plus your rental assistance, whatever that is, for a certain amount of time. So I think it's like, it goes on could be 3 monthly basis, but basically it just means that your support worker goes to a little meeting, shares what you're doing, still engaging with the service, and people say, yeah, we'll keep them on. You also, if you do get approved for that, you get $2,000 worth of brokerage to set yourself up. So you can get your white goods, couch. They won't give you a TV or things like that, So there's a bit there to be had. The exact same program is if you escape a domestic violence relationship. It's called Start Safely. These are all from Housing New South Wales.
We'll have all these services in there.
It's application forms and a few bits and bobs. You might have to provide evidence, but that again, 25%, 25% of your rent, and you get the $2,000 to set you up as well.
That's right, because with $2,000 you could go to the likes of second-hand white goods places and you can pick up your washing machine. And
yeah, man,
that's awesome. I am someone who does believe that. I even think people should be entitled to television and free internet, because
they
are. Yeah, really.
Well, no, I'm not
education.
saying. I'm not saying housing will buy one. I'm not saying, but I feel like that it shouldn't be like, oh, that's not a necessity. It kind of is.
I think absolutely.
The
internet especially, because there's some applications you can't do unless it's online. So
absolutely.
these people, if they haven't got access to that, they're already on. They're already behind the 8 ball. And then they're just being held back now. But
even to be aware, we're in a pandemic. They should be able to get the daily updates. They should have access to news. Kids, if you have kids, that's what was so good about Sesame Street. Sesame Street was a free-to-air educational kids program. So it was all about giving kids access to that type of stuff. And we've lots of stuff, obviously, on the ABC and free-to-air channels here as well. But I think you need the fucking TV for that. And it's important to have like a fucking...
Especially during like COVID and stuff, like all the kids were doing school through Zoom and whatever, the internet.
Right. That's right.
You're 100% needed, you're right. It should be something that is given.
Well, there's also another scheme that I want to mention. I do really appreciate it. It's called the Homeless Youth Assistance Program. We call it HYAP, like HYAP. And it's run by different organisations in different areas. So up in the Hunter Valley, it's True Samaritans, and down kind of the Central Coast, where I know it's like a Lambie Care. But it's basically for if you have a young person between the ages of 12 and 15 who you can basically get them anything that's going to support them with their housing, education, mental health, hobbies, just to get them their well-being better. So, the mother could present as someone being at risk, or in rental arrears or whatever, and you could potentially be able to get funding, apply for brokerage to get your rent arrears paid. You can get your electricity bill paid. You could potentially get your internet bill paid, because it's all keeping that child out of foster care, because there's nowhere to send kids of that age group. You know what I mean? Because if you become homeless with young person, nowhere to go, that's a child protection issue. That's that's a facts report.
That's tragedy. That's a devastating thing when a kid needs to, they don't have, because you think about, you always could go home, right? You could go and well, at least my parents have the best interest for me and all. So that shakes me to my core when I hear that like a kid has to get the fuck out of home.
But even with
I'm glad that we have schemes.
Yeah.
And with that, having the access to hobbies as well, because I think an important thing that gets overlooked is kids playing sport or being engaged in those, because if they can't do that and they don't get that, they don't get that interaction, that can be a killer in itself.
Definitely.
Because they meet the friends that they're going to spend the rest of their lives with to a degree through that, and through that interaction and that connection, they can potentially move them into career paths or
just confidence building and rapport
Absolutely.
building and
Absolutely.
communication skills, everything that's going to set them up for a lovely bright future. And like, the shame in not having fucking uniforms or whatever, or your parents not being able to buy the gear or the laptop or whatever. Like that's what that funding can do,
That's
which is
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Stops them from being like excluded socially, because that's the start, isn't it? Like, that fascinating.
It's
it is.
I mean, years ago, I lived in a rental that was like subsidized or whatever, helps for cheaper rent and stuff. Because I mean, until 6 years ago, I'd never earned huge money or anything, and I was in a position where I couldn't afford to get into a rental. I just had a child and I was earning horrible money and trying to support everyone, and I lived in a house that we had to apply for and go through all the criteria and stuff, like, they offer it to people that earn under a certain amount of, per year and whatever. And it was a lifesaver for me because, I was in a position where I've probably never been in a position where I'd become homeless. But even when I was living there, like I got to a point where our electricity got shut off. Like, you helped me move out of there, and I couldn't afford to live even there.
That was when we Molotov the place, wasn't it? We burnt it down.
But I literally, in order for me to clean that rental, like my neighbours gave me a power cord over the fence so I could, use a vacuum cleaner and stuff like that. Like it's, and I had to move back to my parents' house, and it's hard to not feel embarrassed about that. But
you're lucky to have it. Like that's
exactly
what's great about. Yeah.
It was a lifesaver for me. Same deal. A new newborn and whatever. So that was a huge game saver or game changer for me at the time.
Surviving off it. You use it to survive.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. I was just going to say, when I was in a rental with the kids, and I was working obviously at a homelessness place on the brink of homelessness because the house was sold, and like it was my bread and butter. I was doing absolutely everything with it every day, and I still was struggling to find another rental that would just accept me on my own with the 3 kids, and I ended up getting a place. Well, here I was. It's like literally things that I do day in, day out, is supporting people to find houses, and I'm struggling to get one kind of thing. And it was just, you just go into that shock of, God, could I end up at that point? Am I gonna have somewhere to go? And I would be lucky in a sense that I would have people, you know what I mean, that wouldn't kind of see me, go into a refuge or something like that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with refuges, because obviously that's where I've worked at a women's and children's refuge for the past 7 years, and they're fantastic places. But I feel like people in my life probably wouldn't allow me to do that. Even though, in saying that, I have to admit, if you do go into a refuge, if you're a woman or a man, that bumps you up the housing list because you don't have any other options. So they'll always, and transitional housing is always easier from a refuge as well. You'll always get priority over transitional housing, which is just the house that you go into before you basically get your long-term house. So if ever people are struggling, people have, the stigma about refuges as well, that there's going to be, drug people running around. They're not. They're people who are in lovely, vulnerable situations like yourselves. You make, you chat and talk to people, and it's the most caring people that you'll meet are there to help you. You beck and call. It's if anyone is out there and they're thinking, oh God, I don't want to go to a refuge, just do it. And just do what they say, because they will get you a property. Eventually you stay there, you stick it out, and you'll be leaving that place into a house because they're not going to let you leave it otherwise. Do you know what I mean? unless you do something wrong, you can't break the rules and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't bring, you can't drink or smoke or like take drugs at the refuge and things like that. So there is rules, but as long as you do the right thing, you'd be clear sailing. So I do advise going to a refuge.
But it comes down to, again, and you mentioned it briefly there, that the stigmatism around it, and these are someone's daughters, sons, family members, and potentially friends, and people like similar to your situation, like you were saying, that aren't bad people, aren't doing anything wrong. It's just simply a circumstance of where the stage of where their life is at, and
no one plans this.
And there shouldn't be shame around that. The people are already having a hard time, wherever they're at in their life, and the social stigmatism around that in regards to it. Yeah, it's makes it so much harder for them.
Health.
Absolutely. That's the thing we need to attack more. Is getting rid of that. Looking down on people that are doing it tough. I don't understand why it is a normal thing that if somebody is struggling, we look down on them even more. We should be, and then we pride ourselves as Australians, in helping our mates and stuff like that. Yeah, and yet we seem to be really bad at it. I know other countries can be as well, but we seem to be really bad at looking at people that are struggling and kicking them while they're down, when we should be picking them up, helping them, whether it's advice, whether it's taking them to somewhere where they can get the information, something like that. But
you have to be being really informed about trauma in general. I think being trauma informed should be something that kids learn at schools, because you do kind of have that like judgment, I suppose, of why can I do this? Why can they not do it? You know what I mean? But the upbringing or the trauma that they've had in their lives, or just the cycle of, the way that their family works. I've had 16-year-olds come into me, and their mom, I've just had the mom house, and the 16-year-old come in saying, yeah, I'm going to start applying for my house too. That's the lifestyle cycle that they've got. They're stuck in it. And it's just bad.
It's what they're used to. That's what they know. It's hard to get people out of that, especially if this is a generational thing where that's what their generation or what the family has done for generations. Yeah. To try and change that's very difficult. And some of them might not want to change it, but trying to educate them, I suppose. And
generational wealth, it's hard. Sorry, Reece, go on.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I was just going to say, like, on the flip of all that, like, you hear stories sometimes about, especially in smaller towns or cities where you might only have one or two homeless people that are obviously well known by the entire town or whatever, and you hear stories about those people, and like, do you ever find that you hear stories of people that like choose to stay homeless, or as I don't know how do you really word it, but like is that like
calls
something
it
that
survival training,
like,
Reece is like, if I decided to just become a full-time survivalist. No, but I know what Reece means, because it must be
I know what you're saying.
You must feel defeated and be like, well, I'm just going to embrace this lifestyle as much as I can. Is that, or is that just like they have not much choice anyway, so there's, I don't know.
I feel as though there's some people that whatever they're going through at that time is not capable of doing the things that they have to do to get a home, potentially. Yeah. So I feel as though if they were really, I don't know, I haven't come across in the industry, because obviously if people are usually coming to me, most of the time they do want to resolve their issues.
Yeah, true,
I guess,
and obviously
like,
some people fall away.
Sort of,
some people fall away, but I feel like the majority of the time that there's something that they want to rectify first. And it could be things like their dog. They could have a companion dog that they cannot give up. And you'll say, all right, well, I'll give you the number to Link2home, we'll get you temporary accommodation, and then we'll go from there. But I've got a dog. Oh, well, sorry, these hotels don't take dogs.
Yeah.
So they'll say, well, I'm going to stay in my car with the dog then, because I'm not giving up my dog. This dog has been with me for 16 years.
Yep.
There's nowhere to put the dog. And why should I tell that person that they have to get rid of their dog?
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
like
now
probably
we're
a
bringing.
child.
Now we're realizing what these companions bring to people, particularly people when they're by themselves, and it isn't just obviously security, and it's a friendship, and it is important. Like if you don't have someone in your life, if a dog can be, or a cat or whatever, particularly a dog, they can be very, very fucking important, and we actually have them.
Be a
Not just
lifesaver
Sky
at
dogs.
times.
They're actually they help people with their mental well-being, right? I
The
can't remember what the
emotional
word is.
support dogs. They've got all those sorts of animals. I mean, they're using them for
Therapy
diabetes
dogs.
and stuff. There's
And people with autism and Asperger's, they're using and old people as well. Like so, God, dogs are awesome. But,
dogs are awesome.
Dogs are the best.
You know what I mean?
so
And there is,
nice. Like you can be mean to a dog, and you shouldn't be fucking mean to a dog. But a dog, you see it in videos. They're unconditional
love you.
You know,
Yeah.
man. They're little angels, if you know what I mean.
which,
when they're not
which comes-
escaping.
I feel like with a dog, me as a renter at the moment, and a mom of 3 kids, like I keep saying, they're begging me
How
for
many
a
kids
dog.
have you got?
Begging me for a dog, and I'd love to get a dog, but I know the barriers that could put in place for me potentially
Well, I don't
going
have a dog.
forward. You know what I mean? Like
Incredible.
because I'm still in the rental market, and I always said when I buy my own house, I'll buy a dog because I won't be left potentially having to get rid of it because I can't get a second house. But they're the difficult choices that you're going to have to make if you're going to be potentially homeless with 3 kids. So
I'm in exactly the same boat. That's why I don't have a dog, because I was like, I'm waiting till I own my own house, because I know how hard it
So
can be.
much argument for it though. Like it literally makes you safer. You're less likely to have your home robbed or to be attacked if people hear there's a fucking dog there.
yeah,
So
true.
there's too many positives. Like that's another ridiculous thing. But look, I will say, everybody, we're coming up to that hour mark right now. We'll probably go into a couple of lighter subjects maybe after the break with some Would You Rather. But after the break, after the little pee break, we'll finish up with some homeless stuff and give people some directions and where to go and how they can help.
And like we said before, like it'll be in the link in the bio of the episode. Plus, we'll have some phone numbers at the end of the episode.
It's right there, people. Click
Right
like.
there.
Like if you like it, click. If you hate it, click the dislike button twice. And, if you really hate it. But look, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna throw a couple more logs on the fire, so stick around. Welcome back to Fireside Yarns, everybody. Did you just have good piss, everybody?
Yes.
Are we empty? Yes. Now, look, before we get into the Would You Rathers and a bit of fun, I think it's only right we close up on the homelessness topic.
I think the most important thing to touch on, though, is that you actually admitted that you like the Piss Break song, which
I like I call it the Indian song, but it is much more of an Egyptian vibe. It goes. I would have 10 piss breaks just to hear it.
I was actually out of that conversation. I was going to say Jamiroquai, Cosmic Girl. I was like, it's your first female on the show. Put a bit of Cosmic Girl on there.
Get onto it. Look,
okay, I'll not do it.
We'll see what happens. Vinno, it's all the Vinno. Like literally, it hasn't happened now. But and if it's not right, it's all his fault. But yeah, but Niamh, is there anything we haven't touched on yet?
Say the
Is there
bullying
anything
on this.
no?
I really just wanted to add in because obviously I know I'm a massive feminist and whatever, but I do want to point out that there is not enough services out there for men at the moment.
Aye.
There is literally in New South Wales, there's a men's refuge in Taree, and the next one is not until Newcastle.
Wow.
These men have got nowhere to go. They have to uproot themselves from the people that they know just to get somewhere safe to be. And I know sometimes men can put themselves in situations like if they are abusive to their partner, where they're not, obviously they're going to be like, the wife seems to always be the one that kind of lifts up and moves out and goes to the refuge, and the man kind of stays there. And my point is maybe trying to flip the conversation and to try and get these men housed so that they can, you know, have their own thing and stay away from harm the kids, let them do their own thing, and then the man's not, you know, running around the refuges trying to find somewhere to live. So I think putting a lot more emphasis on housing males and And
I agree, yeah.
the last thing then that I'm going to close up with for the night, because we were talking about practical ways that people can help.
Yep.
And I know that I always say the number one thing is kind of affordable housing for people. So I kind of put it out to the investors and the people that do own properties, that if they do have a property to let, or even a hard to rent, you know, let property, instead of giving the real estates a call, give your local housing service officers a call. They'll have a family ready to go in, and they'll continue working with that family to sustain that tenancy. And they'll support them. You know, they're going to really, really try to ensure that that tenancy works. So it's a win-win situation for the landlord and the fucking client. You know.
Once again,
that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Is there how much apart from you saying that, like telling us now, how much information is there, or could there be a stronger push to let tenants know that sort of thing? Because I'm imagining that the real estates would have the dominance as far as letting people know or making people aware of programs that the real estate are running, but not government ones. So
government incentives. We should have tax breaks for people for people who rent to those types of.
Oh,
schemes.
right, yeah. I know what you're saying. Right, okay.
Yeah, he just had to say it in Irish. Yeah.
I had to translate there for
I was
them.
looking a bit blank. I was like, oh, he's going to ask me a question here. I don't know what he's talking about, but anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely,
true.
absolutely. Yeah, anything that can help that really.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, there might be a lot of people that do have investment properties that would like to get involved and do the right thing, and they just simply don't know about those sorts of.
I did one of the days. Power FM up in the Hunter Valley came to outside of our job, and I went up and I jumped on the radio and I was doing a bit of talking and loved it. You know me, getting on there like as I am now.
She's done this before.
In me fucking element, chatting the ears off people. But I put it out there on the radio and said the same thing. If there's anyone out there that has properties, within 3 minutes we had gotten a phone call of a man who had 2 units side by side, within minutes, and we got him.
There you go.
It's an education thing.
Awesome.
That's an awareness issue. You know, get it out there. And here's another thing. You were talking about education. How early? We need to make this part of school, kids, so kids know where to go if they're in a fucking dangerous situation. And sometimes to let kids know that they're in a dangerous situation. There's some people, you know, and that there's a place they can go for that. So look, it all comes down to we should be getting it into schools, creating government incentives.
Not only that,
so much more.
Like you mentioned before with the television, do you remember when we were growing up, they had those ads like the Kids Helpline and those sorts of things on television. So you knew those numbers off by heart just from TV. So it is important in those aspects.
Well, they were put in between those kids shows. Yeah. 906. What's that one?
It was a reading writing hotline, wasn't it? The
1355. Oh yeah.
1300.
06.
Yeah. We all got that wrong. Don't.
3006506.
Yeah, it should be like Dodo.
Once again for the people in the back.
Flies. You know, we need to get catchy.
Has anyone actually ever gotten Dodo?
Nah.
Who was Dodo? Who the
Aussie
fuck
broadband to the core, you know. But here, look, thank you, Niamh. We'll get on to the fun stuff. But thank you for the work you do and the awareness you bring. Because I don't fucking know shit. And there's people out there that probably, if they were aware of how they could help, they would help.
Yep.
And, everybody get out there, and we're going to put some linkies in the doobity-doo. But in the doobity-doo, in the down here, start from this. Oh no, it's backwards, isn't it? Is it going to be backwards? So start from
that's
whichever way you're pointing, I'm just going to flip it, man. So just to fuck with you.
And apologies for. Anyway.
Oh, there's the apology. There it is.
No, I think we're going to be getting more of them because we're now moving into the section of Would You Rather. Now this is you have to answer. People.
This is Vinno's favourite thing to not answer.
It's not what is great.
There is always.
I want to go first.
There is always a broader answer. Always a broader answer.
Guests first.
Is everybody okay with me going first?
Go for it.
Because I don't know what level yours is going to be at. So I just want to like get mine out of the way, just in case the other's like, oh god, here, what do you want?
It is. Mine's a bit disgusting. So
Oh, is it?
I've got several, so yeah, I'm just going to gauge
Really
to
nervous
see how
about this
putrid
now.
I go.
I'm thinking about this all day. My nerves are at me.
You build it up.
I am. I
Is
fucking
it?
am.
Gonna rock us. Let's do it.
Okay. Would you rather be on a train all night in wet clothes, or with the aircon pumping, or would you rather be on that train naked with a blanket around you?
Naked blanket.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah,
too.
naked
I think you
blanket.
can warm up with the blanket. I think when you're wet, it's windy, aircon. I think you're fucked.
I know.
Yeah,
I
you can-
know.
it's
You can do
hypothermia.
things to warm yourself up underneath that blanket.
Why the
There you
train?
go.
That's right.
Train. Why is the train relevant here?
Yeah,
Because have you ever been on a fucking train in wet clothes? It's fucked.
I do that for a job. Fuck.
Like, it's annoying. It's horrible. The
You're
worst
right. Yeah.
experiences of my life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
in the
I
middle
think
of
the
the
naked
night.
blanket thing, definitely.
But then
But
you
you're
are very,
naked on
very
a train,
vulnerable.
though.
You're
You're
very
naked.
vulnerable
Yeah.
on a
'Cause the-
fucking train.
Because now you're
Naked.
public.
No, but you
Now
can
you're in a
use that.
public
Like,
place
if
naked.
someone's going to come up and attack you, you can just throw that blanket open and just go on another level of psychotic. Who's going to
They
fuck
might
with
want
you?
something underneath it.
I'm not running
Who's
around
going to
with
fuck with
daggers.
you
I just
if
couldn't
you
do it.
open up your blanket and start running at them with your
That might
fucking little...
entice me, to keep charging at you.
Oh god, I really
The
hope I
train,
never
that's
see
where it
that.
comes
Running
in.
too
It's
hard.
So then it becomes a joust, doesn't it, Dave? Like, it's fucking...
But think about it this way as well.
But everyone's a winner.
Cold, wet,
Everyone's trying to get hit in the face. What were you saying? Sorry, Reese.
I was going to say, like, cold, wet, uncomfortable, potential to get sick,
Dangerous. Yeah. dangerous.
embarrassment of being naked under a blanket. But think of the stories, the amount of people are probably going to go on a podcast and be like,
Oh,
boy, you should have seen what I saw on the train today.
Yeah. And it was cold, and he was
And it
naked.
was cold.
So because there's a social
You
aspect there.
talking
On the
about
train.
that they would see the naked guy in the blanket or the wet people?
I think there would be the people would look at the cold gentleman who's naked, and they would not take into consideration the temperature and may describe him unfortunately. I think, so like, that's the nicest way of saying that. Eh?
It's cold in
He
here.
had an unfortunately sized penis, but it may have been due to temperature. So you know what? You have the excuse. No matter what, you'd be like, it was fucking cold, mate.
It was
I'm on a
cold.
train
And I was naked.
Look at this fucking
The
wet
blanket, so
bastard.
it should be warm. The blanket's warm.
And
So
you know
what was your answer,
And it's
Niamh?
around your dick. You probably don't show your dick. But I'm in the mind frame of Vinno
Showing
flashing
dick.
folk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because on then Vinno, it's not threatening. Because
It's self-defense.
like
It's
the Kyle Rittenhouse of naked flashing.
So what would
Coil
you
written
rather?
train.
Which would you rather do?
We went naked with the
I'm-
blanket.
Oh, I
Naked
don't know
blanket.
now.
You're both naked blanket.
No, I'm wet.
Yeah.
I'm wet.
Someone
clothes. I
steals
think
that blanket.
That's what
Someone
she
comes
said.
over and steals that
Yeah.
blanket.
I'm
You're
switching
fucked.
for the social aspect because I feel like I could deal with a wet clothes in an aircon room. It'd feel shit. But then when I get out, I'm not naked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think naked is a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. So we're split. We're 50-50.
I'm going wet clothes. I'll just fucking hack
wet.
it out.
No
I'm
wonder the
not
two
being
paddies.
naked on a train.
Two paddies are like, it's only a bit of rain, lads. But the Aussies are like, oh, I'd rather be naked, mate. Vinno's even talking about confrontations. Jousting.
He's ready to
Naked
fight.
jousting.
How
Come
about
at
we
me.
Honestly,
Come at
yeah.
me.
Yeah, run
Yeah,
at me.
run at me. I swear to God, this is not a pocket knife.
All right.
All
Now,
right,
all
Dave.
right, then who wants to go second?
You can.
All right. Now, again, I went a bit to
I
it.
just
It's not. All right. Would you rather drink a pint of your worst enemy's pee, okay, and they look you in the eye when you're doing it, or eat a bowl of your own shit and everyone you've ever hated can see it? So it's your own shit. Oh,
I drink the piss.
Yeah, I drink the
Well-
piss, I think.
I drink the piss and be humiliated in front of one person, I think.
Yeah.
And say that. Hang on. Ask
Because
this
I don't think I
again.
could
Did
eat
you
shit.
just
I
get
don't
that
think I
off
could
the
eat.
internet?
Yeah, like I looked up, or
The
I was like,
internet
would
is
you
a
rather
wonderful,
sick?
wonderful place to
Yeah.
live.
I know.
I wish it was for my own mind. that great would you rather, but it's not. It's from the depths of 4chan.
No,
Would you rather drink a pint of your enemy's pee
I'd be fucking
while
lanky,
they look
bro.
in your eye,
Like, let's
and
face
they're
it,
looking in your eye,
absolutely lanky.
yeah, or eat a bowl of shit in front of everyone you've ever ate, but it's your shit, your own shit.
Oh, I still couldn't eat my own shit.
I couldn't eat my
do
own
it.
shit,
Oh,
and that's me knowing. I think, yeah, that would be horrible.
imagine eating someone else's shit.
Are there any shit
Oh.
eaters? Did we get any shit? Oh, someone else's shit. I don't think it's possible. I don't think my gag reflex would allow me to be like, I'll be like,
You wouldn't be able to
like-
go fucking near it.
I'll be like, bring me the pee. Bring me own mate's dick. Let me look into my eyes.
Here, lads. One time we were
Oh, here
camping.
we go.
We were doing like a little trail, obviously, for the fucking kids to like do a little Easter bunny hunt in the morning. And fucking one of the people that were staying at the campsite, I didn't fucking know, but I was doing a little trail until I got to a point and it was ready. Like I was leaving it to like the big egg. So it's like the prize at the end of the trail. And I looked down, there's a fucking big human shit outside this fucking tent. Like someone just went out in the middle of the night and fucking dropped one inside the fucking tent, and I'm leading my kid to it with Easter eggs.
Yeah, it would look funny.
Then I had to fucking get back. I was like, fuck, I have to lead it somewhere else. Oh, I was like, who
How
fucking
stunting is human shit in the world, eh? When you see, like, oh, that's a human shit.
You know it's
like,
a human shit. You know.
I know. When I worked in HMV, fucking, I used to be in the Storming when I first started there. And whenever I was taking in a truck, I'd open the door in the morning behind there, which was led to an alleyway, and some fucking poor homeless fella, let's be sadly, needed a bit of privacy. He's nowhere to shit. That's exactly right. It leads back to the whole premise and topic at the start that, look, it's a knock-on effect. I have cleaned up many a homeless person's shit with a hose. But it's confronting. It's a different smell. Like doggy poos, like whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. I don't even complain about that shit anymore. It's just part of life now.
Yeah.
But a human shit, I'm like, oh. you know, you can tell the shape
Next
and all.
level.
You can see the pinch. You can see the pinch at the end of it. You can see the snap where he's like, oh, that one weighed a bit.
Poop?
Yeah, well, that's right. Poop.
And that's why I said you were trying to think of onomatopoeia. You couldn't think of it.
It's onomatopoeia. That's what I wanted to sing. Like bang. Yeah. Like it's poop. Yeah. But anyway, all right.
I watched that episode.
All right.
We didn't meet here. Did we get any shit eaters? No one's a shit eater.
No,
Everyone
I'm
drinks
a
shit,
shit
right?
eater. Yeah. All
Do you
right.
think human shit's worse than cat shit though?
Oh,
Yeah.
Cat shit's pretty bad, man.
Cat shit's shit, but it's like there's something. It's like
It goes hard
cannibalistic or something.
after a while, and you might just be able to like chew it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you had to eat it.
I think I treat it like chewing tobacco. I think I'd stick it in there.
And stick it down there.
Let it ferment a bit, because then it's taking on your own urea, you know?
Oh,
But anyway,
All right.
Reese
No,
or Vinno, who's
I'll
going to
go.
go?
I'll go because mine's in the fucking mindset of this current topic.
Oh shit.
All right. Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
Okay, so now
All
the
right.
second topic of the show, shit.
Yeah.
So you're leading into a little show.
Dave,
Shit.
it's
show.
shit talk. Yeah. So,
Shit show.
Shit.
all right. Would you rather shit yourself in public once a year or in private every day?
Oh, once a year in public.
Once a year in public, straight up.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Once every day shitting yourself in, is
Yeah.
I'd
ridiculous.
probably do that anyway.
Goes every day.
What's the public? So am I?
You have to
standing
be
on
like, just say on a
stage and
bus.
people are like, watch me shit. They don't know I'm shitting.
Mm.
No. Like
Am I just-
I'm talking
What is in
about
public?
you're
Like, what's
sitting in a
public?
public place, like you're in a restaurant, you're on a bus or something like that, and it's like an audible shit. Like it's not
Okay,
just
and
it's
smellable,
not just
like
one
it's
that
an
you can.
interactive so people will be
Yes.
affected by it.
Absolutely, it's not just you sitting there and just squeezing one out and no one knows about it.
But
It's
still,
like
people are going to be
audible.
affected
It's
about my daily
painful.
house shittings.
What's
Because
that?
you know, I don't think I'd have a wife if every day I was shitting myself. Like, oh, sorry, babe, you know it's my daily shit myself.
Well, I mean, you
Maybe
take
it's
an
a problem.
actual
It's a problem.
you take an actual shit every day, basically, or thereabouts. So why can't you just like wear a little nappy in the morning, wait for it to come out, and then your day is
No.
Prepare it, yeah.
So see,
Imagine
this is
imagine me
you're
wife
trying to
coming up
work
to me
your
and
way
be like,
around
I'm
the
standing
answer.
next there
Like
and be
it's,
like, it's
Yeah.
fine.
You've been listening to Vinno too much.
yeah, there's no work around here. You've either like you're unprepared for this every single day, and next minute you're just
you
sitting
don't
there
know
and shit yourself.
I think I could look forward to an annual public shit. I think I'd be like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to plan this day out. I'm gonna, you know.
100%.
Do you have to like start say, like in a place where it's like, okay, now I've shit myself and I have to try and get home? Like, is there like?
It just has to be a public shit.
Be
Look, let's be honest. If you
public shit, then
Yeah.
honestly, who here doesn't have once a year a public shit?
Yeah.
I mean it, you know. I was just joking. Reese, what's yours? Oh, everyone's public, am I right?
He's trying to
Everyone's
move on.
public shit.
Yeah, I'd be a
Right,
public shit.
Niamh was kind of
Yeah,
was talking there about
I'm
possibly
quite
having a nappy.
I'm quite a private person. I really don't know if I could shit myself.
every day, Niamh.
Every day?
Every
day.
day is hardcore.
It's on here, Maggie, man. I'll be able to
salmon
cope.
fish roll.
I don't know. I'd be able to. I feel like I don't know.
It
I
would
just
be
really
daily.
wouldn't want. I just really wouldn't want to shit myself and have to make my way home.
That's it. It is rough because you're walking. You know, there's chafing probably involved. There's a stink. There's a visible.
You could be at work. You could be with a client. You could be like. Oh.
Change your life. It's life changing.
Especially when you don't know when it's going to happen. It could happen at any time.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good one. Because I'm talking about planning to have me annual. Is it just like out of nowhere?
Well, is it? You know, is it annual? Do
Once
you
a
know
year.
when it's coming?
It's just once a year. So
And you're planning?
let's just say it's the same day every year, same time. So after a
easy
couple of
then.
years, after a
Oh,
couple of
yeah,
years,
you
plan
can
an
plan
event.
that. You
Yeah, you
plan
can.
that.
I
You
could
can-
become a local guy. It's like, all right, everybody, it's January 18th. Here comes Dave. I'm like,
No, I'd
"He's
just be ready. I'd be ready.
He's
Okay,
ready?
well, I'm going that one now. I'm changing my mind.
Yeah, because I think predicting the public shit, you could
Yes.
even make a thing out of it. Come on, everybody, come on around. Give me $5. I'll bet you $5 I'll shit myself right now. Fuck off, you will.
Dave is making a production out of his shit, you know, every year.
Capitalizes on
He's
every
buying,
year.
selling tickets,
Curbside shits.
merch.
Why not? Like,
see, I reckon Dave would end up going every single day
I'm
if he
gonna
started
do it.
making
Fuck
money
that.
off it. It wouldn't be
gonna do it.
it
That's
wouldn't be an annual
trademark.
dating.
Trademark. Copyright. Don't even think about it.
January 18th, Dave shits himself in public.
January 18th. Shit yourself
No.
Dave.
January 18th. There's too much going on there in January.
There is. I need to put it
You
somewhere
need
where, because it will be a national holiday probably.
June, May.
March
Nice
1st.
weather.
May Day.
Mate.
May the 4th is Star
May the
Wars.
4th. May
Yeah,
the 4th.
go March 1st.
Shit. May the 6th. Shit. What? 5th. Shit. It's got to be. November? No, because that's Movember. I don't know. Look, I'll work on it. We got to brainstorm. Maybe that's episode 17.
Shit-timber.
Fireside Yarns.
Shit timber.
September, yeah. Shit timber. It's coming. Watch out. But here, look.
Just dropping a log.
Yeah, just log
How long is that
dropping.
conversation about shit? Jesus.
We're half an hour into this second break. I'm not gonna lie.
Toilet humour is a very popular thing
Time
on
flies. Time flies when you're
Talking shit.
talking shit.
Yeah, it's a literal. It's a thing. We're meant to do it. It's natural.
Okay.
So here, Reese. Without further ado,
Yes.
Oh,
This
I-
better be
Just
good.
got this a second ago.
yeah. I've got two actually because I feel like we could do some more.
yeah.
This is
Oh,
cool.
if we
yeah.
have runners up, chuck them in there.
Yeah. Would you rather fuck your dad and nobody knows, or not fuck your dad but everyone thinks you fucked him anyway?
I couldn't give a fuck what people think, so
No,
I'm
not
going to
fuck
not
them.
fuck my
Not
dad.
fuck
And
I'm trying to think how that would affect my life, though. Is it like I'm not hiring him? He fucked his
He's a
dad.
dad fucker.
No, but is it like, was I a kid when this fucking happened? Like, is it like, am I a victim now?
Like, did the dad fuck you?
Yeah, it's like what says.
No. You fuck the dad. You fuck your dad.
Oh shit! Did I rape? Is it rape, or is it like we're in a relationship? I'd like you to respect it.
Oh my
Or is
god!
it? Or did we get drunk
well-
one night and he was like, "You
I
looking
love you, son.
like your mother tonight." You know what I mean? God, you look like your mother.
you've got your mother's eyes.
You got your mother's lips.
Yeah.
You asked it. So here, I'd rather not fuck my dad. And if everyone but everyone thinks like, does my mom think it? It's like, sure, he fucked his dad. Does like everyone think it?
Yeah, who knows?
Well,
Who thinks
I
it?
mean,
Who
if you
thinks
do
it?
fuck him, no one knows.
Yeah,
Wait,
but
no. Does he
Well,
know?
yeah.
Does he know about it, or did I? That I was like, look, you passed out there for a while. Don't know what happened. Off you popped, Dad.
Oh, Dad, you got caught in the washing machine. I just had to help you
who
out.
knows about it? If I fuck with that, is it me and him?
Everyone.
If you do fuck him, no one knows about it.
Not even him?
No one.
Do I remember it?
Well, yeah, you do.
You said no one knows, though. I thought I'd know.
Yeah, so if you fuck, no one knows about it happening.
But does my dad remember?
That's at your discretion, I suppose.
I think I'd like to share the anguish. Maybe who am I going to talk to about it?
Down with me.
It's like, you'll come over and I'll give me mum a hug and I'll give me dad a handshake. Like, you're right, mate. Why aren't they looking at each other in the eye?
And then he gives you a little slap on the arse when you turn around.
Yeah, it's like, actually, I had fun that night. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. Oh, man. All right.
Let's use it.
What was the other option again? I didn't even listen to the other option. I was just like, I choose that. I choose option one.
Fuck my dad.
I think option one.
He's just going to do a daydream about fucking his dad.
Would you rather fuck your dad? It's like, fuck my dad.
Yeah.
I'll just stop you right there. Yeah.
Can I answer the question now, please, Eddie?
Go for it.
Lock it in.
Stop.
Okay, so Dave's fucking his dad. Vinno, what are you doing?
Okay, there's a soundbite.
Yeah, I went.
What?
There's a soundbite forever on the internet. Lovely. What will you be doing?
I went the fucking second option. But hang on, I've got questions as well.
No. I'm second option. Just fucking for the record, I'm the second option.
Oh, he's changed. He's changed.
So
how many?
The entire world
Second option is that
the
entire
everyone
world
thinks I fucked him, but I
For
didn't.
how?
And I'm always going to say I did.
Dad,
I was like,
For how long do they
does
remember
he
it
think
though?
I did? No, hold on.
Is it an
You
ongoing
need to
thing?
know. You need to know the full.
So
does everyone think I fucked him, including me, Dad? It's like, yeah, he fucked me.
But in 10 years' time, if I'm walking down the street, do they go, "Oh, there's that guy that fucked his dad but didn't"?
Yep.
Daddy fucker.
No, but they don't know that you didn't. They just think that you did.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. For how long? Is it like a 2-year thing? Is it 10 years? Or?
No, it's. I mean, if you find something out, do you forget it?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit that you tell me that I forget.
Way of people living their, goes through the natural life.
Yeah.
Of memory.
I'm sure some people are going to go, that guy that fucked his dad.
And then other people are going to go, oh, fuck yeah, I remember him. I remember that story.
Yep.
I do have the opportunity.
You may not have actually done it, but everybody thinks you did.
But I've got the opportunity to sway them and change their minds.
Oh, is it even your dad thinks you did?
Essentially. Yeah.
His question still hasn't been answered.
No.
What's his question?
Does
the dad remember
that I fucked him?
Yeah.
In both cases. Because you said everyone thinks you did, even though you didn't. Even your dad's be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he fucked me. And I was like, I didn't, Dad. Fucking you would know.
Well,
Trust me, he'd know. You know what I mean? Trust me, all right? You don't forget that.
Yeah. You're an animal. I love it.
Hey. Many a dad has fallen victim. Fallen on. But anyway, look.
Fucking hell.
I don't know how
I can't even do it.
I thought the fucking your parents would you rather's died last week. But here they come again. Maybe we can make this a weekly thing, guys.
He's really trying to I think he's trying to tell us something.
Yeah. It's fucking
Hey. Well, everybody. Well, what do you think? Did you have a couple other would you rather's? Didn't you say you did a couple?
Yeah, I had a couple.
I'm still waiting for everyone's answers.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I really wouldn't like that experience. So I feel like
think your own mental health.
Yeah.
I would take option 2.
Like they're not gonna, even though they know, they're not gonna tell you that they know. They're not gonna, you know what I mean? They're actually not going to. Them knowing isn't really actually gonna affect.
You'll find someone that'll look past
really
it.
Think about it, you know? Yeah.
Or be like, I kind of like the idea of that. And, whatever, you'll find there's someone out there for everybody. There's plenty of people in the sea, or whatever they say. There's no people in the sea. But, oh, man.
That's fucked up.
Moby Dick.
It's fucked up, isn't it?
We've gone from
All right.
shit to back to.
So what was
dead
the other
fucking-
one? What's the other would you rather? What's your second one, Reese's Pieces?
That's
I
heavy.
was going to say,
That was a heavy would you rather.
would you rather feel like you've got a small rock in your shoe forever, or always have chip crumbs in your bed and they follow you wherever you go?
What flavour chips? Not salt and vinegar, is it? It's not going to sting. It's not tangy, is it?
Light and tangy?
Nah. Is it salt?
Doritos?
Cheese and onion. King crisps.
Hey,
How big are the
whatever
crumbs?
flavour you want.
How big are the crumbs? Are they edible
How big-
size?
how big-
I noticed them,
It's a
Vinno.
crumb.
Are they wipeable, offable, or are they just constantly
Just have to
infinity
wait
crumbs?
There. Just
You can't-
always there.
You can't do a sweep of a night.
Nah.
That's
no.
never
A
ending
rock in your
snack,
shoe
really.
is debilitating. That's like limping. That's damage. You know,
Yeah,
that's
because when there is
visible
a rock
pain.
in your shoe, it actually
Pain.
is very frustrating.
You have
You
to
know what I mean?
stop.
Yeah, you have to get it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh.
I'd be lying if crisps weren't already in my bed every night. I pick
Yeah, I'm gonna go chips. I'm gonna go chips because if
Yeah.
you come home pissed drunk, like you're gonna eat them motherfuckers. I don't care who you are,
It's crumbs, not pieces of chip.
mate. If they're never ending, you'll fill yourself up on them.
True.
Sorry. COVID.
Fuck's sake, Niamh.
COVID.
Chinese sneeze.
That's racist,
Oh,
man.
yeah. It is. It bloody is.
All right. Would you rather have vaginas under your armpits or an armpit in your crotch?
You kind of already do have an armpit in your crotch, don't you?
Yeah.
So I would have. I'd pick that, I guess. I mean, what would be the benefit? Although that'd be
This
cool,
is-
wouldn't it?
Yeah, here we go.
Hey,
Here we
so
go.
But
Yeah.
if you've got an armpit in your vagina, if you've got an armpit where your vagina should be, that means you don't have a vagina.
Oh, is that what you mean as well?
Because
Yeah.
the vaginas aren't in your armpits.
What about me? I
Only
don't have a
you're only
vagina
having-
anyway.
Then what's in your armpits? If there's an armpit in your vagina, just armpits
Could
are
be the
armpits as well.
vagina up in the armpits.
No,
You've
no,
got two
it
of them.
should be.
You've got
They're
two of
both the
them.
same thing.
Yeah, so it should be
Either
if you
way,
have
there's potential
armpit
for a bad
vaginas.
smell.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you know, I said we have Fireside yarns,
Or a
self hygiene,
nice smell.
regardless. Yeah, expel fucking. It depends how you if you like that.
Pheromones.
Yeah,
Oh.
you could, yeah. That's right. It's natural. You'll keep it tidy though, obviously.
All right, then
Oh,
ball
yeah.
sacks.
It's
Would you
fun.
have-
You could have them bad boys, you know.
But no, fuck it. Whip it out.
Well,
Whip them
you know,
out.
some
Whip it out.
French ladies might give it a go.
They do, yeah. Well, that'd be a way of hiding them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It would
yeah.
actually be quite conservative to keep the bush on the tush. Now, yeah, so I would pick. So I have an armpit and no vagina. So I'm guessing I have an armpit instead of a dick too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I'd have to go
Vagina or armpits?
titty pussies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pussies.
armpit vaginas.
Yeah,
I think I'd be rocking me APV.
yeah. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be traditional, but I think you'd still
Imagine,
make
like-
it work.
You make it work. I think you will be getting work. Can you imagine that, lads?
Every time you yawn, you're turning someone on, aren't you? You fucking.
Stretching, yeah.
Fucking straight.
Waving. Like, all society would change. Be like, you all right, mate? Would all of a sudden be, oh, yeah. Keep it to yourself. But do fellas have dicks under there? Because that'd be annoying. You'd be walking around like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't want to crush your
I'd be
balls,
walking
would you?
around
Some of us do anyway.
Yeah, yeah, so
I feel like if you had a vagina or a dick hanging out your arm, that we would invent something to cover it up the way we do.
society would change.
Yeah,
Society would
like,
change
you
around
wouldn't-
lad
You
parts.
probably wouldn't just have it hanging out. You know what I mean? Like just because.
But no, but what if you were the one person?
What
if it was
Be
a
like
deformity?
holsters, like gun holsters.
Slug
it would be something
holsters.
like that. It'd
Just
be
wrap 'em over
classy,
your shoulder.
actually. It would look good. It would be leather. There would be buckles
Oh
on that
God! Stop.
shit. Yeah.
My God!
Maybe one day we can evolve to such physical legendary.
But yeah, imagine peeing. You're just fucking walking around just doing that.
Oh, you know what?
Like a puppy dog on a walk.
It would be easy, yeah. It would be easy to carry around like a little handbag, colostomy bag.
No, just
Both
do,
arms.
Yeah.
you could have the window
Oh, you could
down.
just
And
like
window down the car and just hang it out and just fucking.
No, you just lie up against the wall like that. It'd be so much easier, actually.
Yeah, it would actually be.
awesome.
Yeah.
Do we have zippers?
Yeah, we can have something. We can have like maternity, like what a woman has when she's breastfeeding. It's like that loose bit. You can have a loose bit like under there.
Yeah.
We could start a fucking fashion design label.
Think of the tampons, because the stringies would be coming out, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah,
Little strings
they,
be
oh
coming
god,
out.
yeah. So they still get
Well,
periods.
you could make them like a little bangle. They could be like the new earrings. Just coming, you know what I mean? Like you could get. Here I am marketing.
What if
Would
some
you
people
rather?
don't want to wear tampons all the time? Some ladies like wear. Yeah, but then that's why we need undies for the armpits.
That's right.
So
Armies.
they do need a bit of protection.
Armies.
Armies. But they also,
I think we could figure something out for a
there'd be
little.
hygiene products around it. We'd figure it out. They'd be like a baby bib, because it'd have that hole in it, right? You strap it over the shoulder, and it would hold on the hair.
Yeah.
Solved. Give me the armpit.
Give me an armpit and I'll cover it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh fuck! We've
So
created
we're
a
all
downward
going
trend.
with, we're all going
we're all going with that.
funny armpit.
The decision is unanimous. Firesiders.
Yeah.
Pussy pits.
that was better than what I said. Funny armpits.
I give all credit to Dave. He said it first.
Yeah.
Oh,
We will.
oh.
You have some wet ass armpits. Grab a bucket and a mop for those wet ass armpits. Give it everything you got. You know.
Yeah.
What a song. Anyway.
You're different. You're different.
Yeah,
You're just
he
different.
is.
I love it. Would you rather
Oh, you're
piss
going
a ping
again.
pong ball or shit out a bowling ball?
It's not
Piss a
physically
ping pong.
possible.
I think a bowling ball.
I
That you're
is-
looking
it
at
is-
should
spinal
have 3
damage.
bowling balls, lads.
That's true.
Basically. Like, it is
Name's
possible.
like again. All right.
Yeah.
Bring
All
on the
right,
bowling ball.
yeah, just the bowling ball.
It would be easier because there would be 3 holes to pull it out, right? Whereas you,
Oh, yes.
you'd be like, sorry, there, you take it out, you put your hand over the air, and you take it out. Size 17.
And that's then your bowling ball for life.
That's
That is
right. Then you
that's,
carry around
that's
in a
your
bag.
one. And
No
then,
polish
like,
needed.
yeah,
Yeah.
mad.
You're saying you own whatever you put 3 fingers in?
Boy, if it came out of me, it's mine. You know, I made that shit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck's sake. It's not like a sentient bowling ball, is it?
If it came out of me, it's
Did
mine.
I need another person to make it? Is it fully mine?
Oh, I mean, yeah.
There's so
Want it to
many,
be
so
fully
many.
yours, or would you want it to be your responsibility, or would you want to share the load?
Would I leave it at the alley?
That's what she said.
You know what? I think if it only happened once, I'd keep it. But if I'm out there, if it's a fucking, how often am I getting this ball? Is it just a one or done deal?
It's a one-off.
Probably. Oh, is
Piss
it just
ping
one
pong
off? I was
ball,
going to say you
shit out a
probably
bowling ball.
ovulate in the same way a woman ovulates, so you probably have one chance every month to fall pregnant with a bowling ball. So you have
And
to
if
be
I don't
careful.
get a bowling ball, do I get you know,
No,
like
you
would
just get a
period?
bowling ball. No. Oh,
Remember,
yeah,
this
oh
is
yeah, no,
shitting out of your
Yeah, no.
ass.
Yeah,
Hang
if
on.
it's not implanted from a
I don't mind the
gentleman
sound of
collar.
you. I don't mind the sound of you giving that a go. That could
you know
that could
what?
open a few eyes. So,
You know what? It would be similar to, you know, when Vinnies was doing the go out and sleep rough, so you could empathise with a
Exactly.
homeless person. Fuck lads, I don't think I'm ready to empathise with a fucking woman giving
I
birth.
don't say it could change the whole dynamic of fucking
Maybe test tube babies,
gender
be like-
inequality as we know it.
Every baby would be a test tube baby. It's like, oh look, let's get out of this prehistoric childbirth shit.
I tell you what,
My
it would
dick is
solve some
fucked, my
arguments
arse is ruined.
over in America, wouldn't it? It'd be the old abortion bills wouldn't be in.
Nah.
It'd solve
It
some
would be
arguments there.
politicised for sure. It would
Absolutely.
be politicised. Like, well, that's, you know what, if you and yous were smart enough to create that bowling ball, now you have to have it.
Mm.
Bowling for Columbine.
So was everyone shitting out a bowling ball?
No, I'm not shitting about. I'm out the. What was it? A marble out your dick? What was the
No.
other one? Ping
Ping pong
pong.
ball. Piss out a ping pong ball.
It's in the
So
ping pong. But because I
it's
think
coming
it's
out your piss hole.
that's bad. Like it's
Or
bad. Like that's bad. That's
Bowling
gonna ruin
ball
me dick.
out your ass.
But I
Well,
think that's
actually-
spinal damage.
It's probably good. Yeah, you're gonna ruin your body. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the dick. I think you could sew it up. You know what I mean? You could. It's
It
not
would
exactly
probably
like
just
it's
go. It
pretty
would probably
anyway.
just go back. It would probably just eventually go back. You know what I mean? Like vaginas don't stay fucking massive after childbirth. They eventually go, but like probably not as much. But you know what I mean? Like no, like
Yeah, sure,
but, you know, it's not gonna be fucking.
No, it does. It does.
Right.
But it's made. Okay, so
They're
listen.
designed to do that.
So
But
now is this
I
arse?
think you're probably right in saying that.
But isn't arse designed to do that though? Because you're thinking about an arse isn't designed to expand to that big and then.
No, you're right. You're
So,
right.
and women, when they're during the pregnancy, there's all this biology that's building up in their body that's preparing them and hormones and like if we'd have to factor in all that, it would have to be your rectum would have to then be able to retract back.
Dilate.
But then again, at the same time, women don't just have magic vaginas that expanding. There are complications. There are tearing. There's an emergency C-section. Am I going to have to, if I can't do it, is this going to have to be rip out my back or what?
I'm just going to call
serious
out.
questions.
Fuck, I copped some shit last week because I wouldn't answer the question, and then this shit. Like it's not.
I'm waxing lyrical. I'll answer you right now. I'll ping pong.
What's the question?
I want to I want to know what I'm living with here. You know?
Yeah.
Come correct me.
There's ramifications.
Yeah,
So
I'm going to go
vague.
ping pong ball.
Yeah. Fuck that though.
It would be painful. Man, kidney stones hurt. So imagine what a ping pong ball's going to feel like.
Yeah, but you're shitting out a bowling ball. That's not going to
Hear the
tell you.
noise. You know that.
I think ping pong ball would probably compress, like if the air wasn't in it, and it might actually not be as big as what it might be. It might be a bit shardy. But
I don't think your dick muscles could crush a ping pong ball. Now maybe mine can.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Nah, look, my anaconda do not want none.
Fucking hell.
I'm Nicki Minaj. I am Cardi B tonight. Who's next? Who's next?
Meg Thee Stallion, hopefully.
Man.
Have you got a second one? Have you got a second
Anyway, I have none.
Okay.
Do you have any? Were you thinking of any other ones, Niamh?
Can't think. Let me think. I did, and then they kept I kept answering them myself in my own head. I'm like, that's no argument kind of thing. So I kept continuing on.
No contest. No contest.
I don't, and it's weird because obviously I came up with that weird fucking wet on the train one, which is very random. But
No, but it made you think, and there was the whole idea. At the start, I was like, well, I don't want to be wet on the train, like. But then I'm thinking, well, I'm on a train, so it's public, so fuck. But now I'm naked in public.
yeah,
So it did make it had layers there, like ogres.
they do, like an onion.
They do, and like an onion. That's right.
Yeah.
But look, everybody, we're coming up to, I guess,
The end of the episode.
2
end of the
hour
week.
mark, and that's what we plan to do. We're gonna, like we said earlier, we're gonna put links down there in the description for anybody because you never know when it might happen to you. And like I said, I wasn't aware of Link2home and these resources that will set you to your local will point you in the right direction from your local resources there.
And look, if anybody is ever going through hardships and those sorts of things, Niamh is a good friend of ours, and if you want some of this information, you can't find it, reach out to us. We'll pass that information on.
Happy to
I'll
put
get
you in the right
information to you. No,
Yep.
no problem.
If ever we can help, it doesn't have to be through the show or anything like that. But yeah, if anyone is struggling, definitely reach out, get that help. Don't be ashamed of it because everyone goes through a hard time in life, no matter what it is. If it is that you're struggling to find somewhere to lay your head, we've got the help there, and we can help get you into those right processes to.
Don't be stuck in a dangerous situation.
That's right.
Because of pride.
No way.
And I also just want to add as well, because I know I kind of made obviously pointed out the errors of the housing system at the moment, some of them, and the lack of affordable housing. But I don't want people to be deterred to get help because of that fact. They still need to do their applications. They need to get their applications in because there's no houses available because everyone is in houses. So people are in houses. It's possible. You can do it, and your turn will come. and you'll get there. Just don't give up, basically.
Yep.
Just,
That's right.
don't let it be disheartened because it's difficult. Just keep going. There's going to be plenty of people out there that are willing to support you to do it. So, yeah.
And you know what? In the meantime, hopefully those systems get better. You know what I mean? And those systems do accommodate our needs. But like, I like to leave it at the end there when Niamh was saying, get help.
Yep.
Go out there with anything.
Look after yourself.
That's right. Look after yourself. Recognize that like everybody's can be vulnerable, and we all need help. And it's okay to start again if where you are is not right. So fucking hook in. Get everybody to raise your drinky poos. Get it up there, Vinno. Fuck you. Until next time. Until next week. We've been Fireside Yarns with our guest Niamh.
Thanks for coming on.
Take care of yourself.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome. I really enjoyed it, guys. Cheers.